Oh, Kamala Harris got caught on a hot mic. It's not the end of the world. She was basically just saying that they've got to move ground with male voters. And then they try to laugh it off, and she's like, we just gave away all of our secrets in our life story. It is kind of funny that they weren't paying attention, and they got caught, Gretchen Whitmer and Kamala Harris, on a hot mic. But we'll go through this, too. She is way down with dudes. She is struggling among men. Unmarried women are the key demo, the strongest demographic of the Democratic Party. But across the board, if we're looking at the married and gendered metric, that's the only one they got. And they have it bigly. They do, like 2-1. Married men, Republican. Married women, Republican. Unmarried men, Republican. Unmarried women, Democrat. And it says something, too. I think that's why they're leaning so heavily into abortion, because and with respect to women, these women who are not married, for whatever reason they're not married, are probably concerned about having a baby without a dad, not having support, not being able to raise a kid. And so it's kind of sad that instead of being like, let's repair our social structure so that we can have families, they're like, I just would rather be able to get an abortion over this. But for this reason, you're not going to win dudes over. And they can make fun of guys all they want, and they do. They make fun of guys all the time. And this is why they're going to keep losing. Young men want families. They want wives. You know, look, I can't speak for women because I'm not a woman. I assume women want good husbands, too. Maybe it's hard to find. But guys, young guys, they want to conquer and they want to have wives. They want to have a family and they want to accomplish their goals. They want to find respect. They want to find respect for themselves. And they get insulted and berated by Democrats every step of the way. You're not allowed to laugh at jokes. You're not allowed to be yourself. Toxic masculinity. Everything you do is wrong. White dudes, we know white guys suck. That's what the ad said. And guys are just getting sick of it. That's why unmarried guys lean Republican. Democrats, this Democrat PAC also made this really funny ad where it's an old man watching a younger guy, kind of, if you know what I mean. And he's like, what are you doing in my room? And he's like, I'm a Republican congressman and I'm going to watch. It's like, dude, is this what the Democrats are after? Degeneracy? Like, come on. Yeah, I think you can make an argument which is respectful to women as it pertains to abortion, that they can't find good men, social structures are breaking down, and they're worried about it. And so that's why they care deeply about abortion. I'm not saying that's the only reason. A lot of people are irresponsible. I'm saying you could make a respectful argument for women instead of just, hey, guys want to sleep around and not have to pay the consequences for that. How about we just go for the let's be responsible approach? Here's a story from the Daily Wire. Vice President Kamala Harris got caught on a hot mic while chatting with campaign surrogate Governor Gretchen Whitmer and then tried to laugh it off as she appeared to admit that her team was struggling to reach male voters. Well, at the very least, she says we've got to make movements with them, which is they're underwater. Harris was catapulted to the top of the Democratic ticket. We know, blah, blah, blah. Has continued to poll poorly among male voters despite a series of targeted efforts to mitigate the weakness. Sitting down with Whitmer at a bar, Harris seemed to acknowledge that shortcoming before she realized that there were eyes and ears and cameras and microphones everywhere. Oh, heavens me. And then they were swearing, too. That's funny. Kamala appears to acknowledge she's struggling with male voters before noticing there are microphones in here just listening to everything. Ish. Ha ha ha. Fakest candidate ever. Harris, sitting down with the Michigan governor for a beer, appeared to tell Whitmer that we need to move ground with men before turning to see a camera on her. Oh, we have microphones in here just listening to everything. I didn't realize that. Harris laughed and added, so now you tell us. You'll bleep my F words, Whitmer joked. We just told all the family secrets, Harris said, laughing. Ish. Harris turned back to Whitmer and said, anyway, it's good to see you. Harris's hot mic revelation followed a number of polls indicating that her campaign is flagging among male voters in the final weeks of the presidential contest. Harris's team has made a series of efforts to reach out to male voters. Let me do this. It's like an informal poll. I know a lot of you guys are watching this. You guys, okay? So you comment to me and let me know what you think of the Democratic Party, and you let me know why you would not vote for them. Because this channel, look, there are a lot of people who watch this because we did a poll. We did market research. There are people who identify as Democrats and even leftists who watch this channel. And so there are people who are watching this probably will end up voting for Kamala Harris. In fact, probably hate watching this and just, that's what they do. And they take clips and they post them everywhere. Then comment and tell me why you think Democrats are doing well among men. Because I'm going to tell you this. Every comment on this video is going to be, not literally every, but most of them is going to be some guy saying they've insulted us. We can't find work. We're struggling. There's no upward mobility. The system is just completely broken. And they make fun of guys. You know what, man? When they go after incels and they say, ha, 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 you're an incel. It is sad for incels, okay? Involuntarily celibate, all right? These are guys who are socially awkward. They think they're low quality and often they might not necessarily be. Some may be on the bottom of the bell curve or whatever. This exists. But there are a lot of average guys who find themselves fractured from society and they don't know how to change it. They make posts on the internet. And you know what? The response from people like Andrew Tate and Jordan Peterson is to work hard and figure it out. And a lot of people don't like Andrew Tate. They say he's a crazy guy. He did offensive things and he's been criminally charged. Whatever. The point is, if you mock and berate young men who are struggling to figure out their way in life, they will go wherever they have to go to find a path towards growth and development. So we can make up every reason in the world why men aren't voting for Kamala Harris. You can make up every reason in the world why you think men are bad. But Michelle Obama, I don't know if you guys saw this. Maybe I should do a segment on it. She came out and she did this speech, which she was like, men, when you go vote for women because Trump is bad for women and we matter. And then she said, and ladies, your husband's not with you in the voting booth. Vote for Kamala Harris. Don't let him know. Just lie to him. I'm not convinced that family women who have children overwhelmingly want to support this party and their gender ideology nonsense. But think about what that is. For a lot of these young men, they're like, why do you hate me so much? That's the question they have. Why do you hate me so much? And it's fascinating. It's exemplified perfectly by that quote from Hillary Clinton where she said that women are the primary victims of war. They lose their fathers, their husbands, and their brothers. Pretty sure the men who died are the victims of war. That's the game, right? When these women come out and they say, there's no law governing a man's body. And it's like the Selective Service Act. What do you mean? Long before abortion even existed in the medical position that it is now, men were conscripted and were cannon fodder for the state. It's been, and this is what happens for a lot of young guys. The left, these women, they don't care to hear it. And that's fine if they don't. All that matters is the results. Young men do not want to vote for Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris's favorability rating among males, 59% unfavorable. Surprise, surprise. Now let's go for young men. Oh, look at that. It improved only a little bit. But younger people do lean Democratic. When you go to 18 to 34, however, it gets worse. That's actually surprising to me. I thought it would have improved with young people. Wow, the 35 to 49 demographic actually improves things? That's crazy. Among 50 to 64-year-olds, 62% of men don't like Kamala Harris. Let's look at 65 plus. Yeah, average. 35 to 49 is her best demo. That's actually surprising to me. Then we got good old Tim Walz. Yeah, he's a 50-50 guy. People don't really know a lot about him. Among dudes, 54% unfavorable. Among young dudes, 51. Among 35 to 49, still 51. 50 to 64 is 58 unfavorable. And among 65 plus, 55% unfavorable. Now, J.D. Vance, we got him pulled up. He ain't doing as well neither. But among men, I wonder if he's favorable. J.D. Vance among men is favorable. Now, look at that. I wonder why that is. Maybe it's because they insult and attack him, too. They play this game where they tell you that as a man, you have everything and you deserve nothing. Well, I don't need to tell you guys because you're guys. But maybe for the ladies listening, this is what many women don't understand. And a lot do, especially those who have been in relationships and see this. There's the glass ceiling where they say women can only go so high and they can't get to the highest levels of CEO or whatever. The funny thing about that is it could just be indicative of the natural bell curve of the greater male variability hypothesis. If there's 1 million men and 1 million women, but only 500 Fortune 500 jobs, if we're looking at the top 1% of men versus the top 1% of women, in the bell curve, there's substantially less women at comparable levels to men. So, and that's just what the data shows us. I'm not suggesting anything. That means you're going to have 10,000 guys who are at the highest level possible and 1,000 women at the highest level possible. With only 500 jobs available, only 500 of the 10,000 are actually going to get a CEO job in a Fortune 500. And that means very few women, if at all, are going to get to that position. They have a 90% chance of less of getting that position. But there's also something called the glass floor. And that is women are in the middle. They stand atop the glass floor and they look up at the glass ceiling. Now, for a lot of guys, and this is a reality that many women don't understand. When guys are young, they're treated as worthless. It doesn't matter if you're homeless. It doesn't matter if you're attacked. It doesn't matter if you're a victim of a violent crime. It doesn't matter if you lose your job. You don't matter. That's why men experience homelessness 5 times the rate of women. It's why men attempt suicide at 5 times the rate of women. Men are more likely to be victims of violent crime. And so for a lot of young guys, and not all, what happens is women don't look down at the men who are struggling and suffer. They look up at the men who are prosperous and say, why can't I be there? And the response from many of these guys is, sure, why don't you come down here too? How many women work in sewers? How many women work in landfills or on oil rigs doing these jobs? I'm not suggesting women have to or anything like that. This is just the reality of the nature of men and women in society. But when women then insult the men who do the hardest jobs and come from nothing, don't be surprised when they will not vote for you, when they reject your ideology, and they vote for someone like Donald Trump, and they watch people like Andrew Tate, and then to a much more reasonable, like moderate, I should say, they get Jordan Peterson. You can lie and scream and complain all you want and demand men vote for you and protect you and do what you want them to do. And that's fair. Why? Well, that's evolutionary biology. Men fight for women. They do. I don't mean fight each other. I mean, men fight every day to get food and supplies and resources for the benefit of women. And this is its natural conclusion. Women have no reason to favor men who are at the bottom rung of society. But sooner or later, those men come demanding. And if there's a lot of them, you can't change that. What does that mean? It means you get Donald Trump president. I'll wrap it up there. Next segment's coming up in a few minutes. Stick around. Follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. Subscribe to this channel. Share the show with everyone you know. And we'll see you all soon.